Oh, good morning, YouTube. It is the 2nd of March, 2026. Just gone 1:30, and it is time to get cardio done. So we're going to go brush our teeth. We're going to go take all of our fat burners and peptides, and we are going to get the morning started. So let's fucking go. All right, we're just in the kitchen. We've just made up our morning drink. We've actually already filled this up halfway twice, put some extra sugar-free cordial in it now that I've already drank most of the electrolytes and stuff out of it, and smashed up all the ice inside of it as well. So we're going to get a couple of nicotine pouches underneath our lip, and we are going to get our ass on cardio. I've already taken all my fat burners and everything about half an hour ago, so I've just finished up cooking meal number 2 on the hob, which was my fish and vegetable meal for my rest day today. So we've killed a bit of time, which means that the mitochondrial supplements and the fat burners and all that kind of stuff have had a little bit of time to start working. So all that's left to do now is pick a flavor of the Zins, and I'm thinking cactus sour is going to be this morning's go-to. So I'm going to get a couple of these under my lips, and I'll see you on the Stairmaster. Alrighty, good morning, YouTube. Coming at you live from the fucking Stairmaster in my backyard. But for real though, very blessed to have this piece of equipment so close to home. Means I don't have to get my ass up and drive to a gym or anything in the morning. So woke up feeling pretty good, slept okay. Body weight was 104.5, so definitely sitting in a good spot. And as usual, we are going to knock 40 minutes of this bad boy out. So electrolytes on deck, nicotine pouches also on deck, and I figured I would start off this morning's cardio with one of the questions from the Instagram chat box. And the first question is, what are your Arnold Classic top 5 men's bodybuilding predictions? So I am going to keep this short and sharp, and also give a disclaimer that this is my very unqualified opinion and there's going to be a lot of bias here. So Arnold Classic 1 through to 5. First place I'm going to put between Hardy and Andrew Jacked. So let's just say Hardy number 1, Andrew Jacked number 2, Martin Fitzwater number 3, Nick Walker number 4, and then that 5th spot's a tough one. I might go with a William Bonac, I believe. So those are my top 5. So that 5th spot definitely up in the air. So that is my top 5 prediction. So anyways, today is going to be a rest day, like I said. So I'll take you through the day, answer some more Q&As, and that will be the video for today. So see you all when I'm on the streets getting some steps in. We have just boxed off the 40 minutes on the Stairmaster, and we are now out getting our steps in. Now, I don't know what's going on this prep, but both my ankles are fucked. I don't know whether it's from like the fact that this is the leanest and the heaviest I've ever been, and you know, the fact that I'm doing 40 to 50 minutes of Stairmaster per day. But yeah, my ankles, holy fuck, like even now I'm just walking the streets and I'm waddling like a fucking idiot because my ankles are just that fucking sore. and they seem to be a little bit sore after leg day usually as well. So maybe I'm just getting old. Like I mentioned yesterday, I am turning 31 this month, so maybe it's just old man problems. Anyways, while I'm out here walking, I figured it might be a good idea to answer another Q&A question from the Instagram. And this question is, what is the hardest adjustment that you've made this prep compared to last? Now, I want to start by saying that this prep is definitely easier than my last. And that comes down to the fact that I stayed very lean when I came off stage last competition and throughout the off season. I didn't go and fuck off and eat a bunch of shit. And I kept all my habits that I had in prep exactly the same through the 12-ish weeks of off season that I had before I started prep again for this season. So comparatively, overall, definitely an easier prep. But I would say that if I could pinpoint one exact thing that is harder this prep than the last one, I would actually say the fact that I'm telling myself and allowing myself to eat up and not grind myself into dust this prep. Because last prep at 6 weeks out, I feel like I definitely started to fade. And that was just due to not taking high days when I needed them. So meaning not taking days where I would eat up carbohydrates when my body was getting really flat. Last prep, I just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And I do believe that in the end, a less than my best physique was placed on stage. It was still an okay look, but when I flatten out through my arms and my shoulders, and those are the areas that I need to stick around when I'm on stage because they are my weaker body parts. So to summarize and answer the question, backing off and eating more has been the hardest challenge this prep. So probably a funny answer for some of you, because you're probably expecting like, I don't know, oh fuck, I really had to dig my heels in this last X weeks because so-and-so happened or something. But yeah, no, it's been a very cruisy prep. I also put that down to the fact that my coaching side of things with the business was taking up more time than my regular day job. So I was able to switch to coaching full-time, which I definitely do think that it makes it easier, because, you know, that just takes away another responsibility in your life, which opens up room for more bodybuilding. So yeah. All right. Now we are sitting at 2:50 a.m. at the moment, and we are just going to finish off these steps, get back inside, abs, meal one, a few client replies, and then try to get another nap in. And seeing as this is a rest day vlog, we're going to try and answer as many questions from the Instagram Q&A box that I put up as we can. So I'll see you all in the next clip. Alrighty, back at the house, and we are going to get meal one all ready and answer another question from the Q&A box. 4 rice cakes. That question is, do you miss powerlifting? Now, let me start by saying that my years powerlifting were some of the funnest years of my life, mainly due to the people that I met and the competitions that I went to, because the atmosphere of a powerlifting competition is like no other. The adrenaline that you experience when stepping on the platform, you know, the feeling that you get after a day of competing is just unmatched. You know, knowing that you've put your best efforts on the line and you're, you know, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 weeks of hard training and prepping for that competition all comes down to the one day. And it's different from bodybuilding because obviously powerlifting is a performance-based sport, meaning that you're actually placed
and judged by how strong you are. Whereas in bodybuilding, it's a very subjective kind of thing. It's like someone's opinion of you versus powerlifting, where you actually either win or you don't because you lifted the most or you didn't. So there's things about powerlifting that I certainly miss. For starters, my favorite part about powerlifting was the fact that I got to go and compete with my friends. A few of those guys to mention are like Jack and Seth, and then, you know, obviously friends of friends and things like that. We'd all travel and go to competitions, and, you know, spending the weekend traveling and going to places like Canberra and places like Melbourne, like all that was just so fun. You know, booking a hotel for a couple of nights and, you know, starving ourselves so that we could make weight while driving up that morning. All that stuff I remember so vividly, and it was, yeah, definitely some of the funnest parts of my life. So in terms of the bodybuilding training, do I miss it? Once again, there's parts of it that I do miss. Powerlifting training, there's parts of powerlifting training that I do miss. That would be, you know, because lifting really fucking heavy is fun. But now that I've sort of been injured, I've had to have surgery on my back, which you may or may not know, due to powerlifting training. I don't miss it anymore because I don't miss being in pain, and I don't miss tearing muscles anymore. Like, all that stuff is so exhausting at the highest level. Like, when I was at my strongest, I swear I also had like a niggle every other week at least. Like, you'd do a pec, or you'd do a hamstring, or, you know, your shoulder would hurt. So those are the parts about powerlifting that I don't miss. But as an overall, overarching answer to the question, do I miss powerlifting? Yes, I do. But sometimes you also need to let go of what you once were to become what you ultimately want to be. So for me, letting go of powerlifting was definitely a bit of a struggle in terms of losing who I was. But that's where bodybuilding then came in, and now I can safely say that with where I'm at in life now, bodybuilding, one, suits me a lot more, because I find that it's much easier on the body physically in terms of, like, you know, injuries and, you know, muscle tears and things like that. It's more of a psychological game, bodybuilding, I would probably say. Whereas, yeah, powerlifting, like, fuck, man. Physically, training really fucking hard for a powerlifting competition is one of the hardest things you can do, because by the end of it, your body is just smashed. And I'm only talking from personal experience here. I'll admit I'm probably one of the hardest trainers out there. In fact, I probably trained too hard to the point where I would cause myself a lot of injuries. But that was the fun of it. That was the reason why I loved it so much, is because I was just an animal in the gym, you know. I would do crazy shit like squat 200 kilos bare knees for 20 reps and, you know, just absolutely fucking grind myself into the ground doing crazy feats of strength like that. So yeah, I miss powerlifting. I definitely miss spending time with my friends doing it. I miss traveling and competing and the actual process of doing a powerlifting competition. But yeah, if you were to ask me, would I get into powerlifting now after all the injuries I've had and everything? No, not interested. I can't really be bothered picking up 300 plus kilos off the ground anymore. I can't be bothered putting 300 plus kilos on my back anymore. I can't be bothered tearing a pec every time I would go over, you know, 180 kilos on bench. So those days are behind me. I'm an old man now, and I might as well compete in masters bodybuilding, because that's that's how banged up my body can feel sometimes. But yep, overall, miss powerlifting. It was great. They were a great 7 years of my life. But like I said, we've now evolved and become a better version of myself, and that is now through bodybuilding. So, all right, we've just got meal one pretty much all together. So cream of rice that we made yesterday, 100 grams of cream of rice, 150 blueberries, 70 grams of whey. This is the Skippy whey. So we're in for some peanut buttery goodness. That is by Rise, by the way, that protein. Now, we're going to place 125 grams of pineapple into the drip bowl, and then we'll add our basic bitch seasoning, which is the pumpkin pie spice, which you can get off iHerb, by the way, guys. 95 grams. Let's see if we can get that to 125 in one more chunk. 128, unacceptable. 120. I'd rather be under than over, to be honest. Alrighty. Pineapple back in the fridge. Basic bitch seasoning, which I keep in an old stevia jar because the seasoning that I bought in bulk, and it came in a big 400 gram bag, so I didn't really want to try to divvy up the powder from a bag because that just gets messy. So a little bit on top of the pineapple, a little bit on top of the cream rice. And since today is a rest day, we haven't got any honey in this meal, but on top of these 4 rice cakes, we are going to put a whey drip and some sugar-free maple syrup. So these are going to go in the freezer while I do abs. All right, and I will see you in the next clip, whatever that.
Here we are in the sauna for our 20 minutes daily, and this is a better time than ever than to answer more of the Q&A questions from the Instagram. So this next question is, if you could add 5 kilos of muscle to any body part, which one would it be? I think I'm gonna have to go with the arms. I definitely have been trying to bring up my arms, which they have been growing. So yeah, if you could magically just make 5 kilos of muscle appear, I would take it straight onto the biceps and the triceps, 100% for sure. So that is my answer to that question. And let me answer another one. Another question that we have here is, what happened to the old gym that you used to run? You look like you had a good crew going. So I was at Ignite for probably a bit over 5 years. Obviously, I started there as a personal trainer, ended up managing the gym, and then, yeah, a couple of years ago now, left. And the reason why it all sort of fell apart is multifactorial. I won't go into like the nitty gritty of it, but essentially the owner of the facility just basically, I just copped abuse every single day from the owner, and it got to the point where there was a stage where I also had injured my back. That was when I required surgery, and I was literally just trying to get through the days. Like, I was coming into work barely being able to walk because my disc had essentially exploded in my back, and you know, I'm trying to figure out what the next step is, and ultimately obviously that required surgery. But in the meantime, you know, I was literally coming into work in agony every single day. The owner, was there in person. Normally he's not at the facility, but he was down from where he resided in Queensland, and he was basically just snooping around the place. And he was a very abusive man, very egotistical, and he essentially just backed me into a corner in the end, to the point where I was so miserable and was in so much pain every day. So on top of that, getting abused, you know, like in person every single day, it ended up just becoming too much. So one day I basically was just in the office with him, and he was, you know, abusing me and doing the usual bullshit. And I just basically said, I'm fucking out, man. So I left. I had a falling out with pretty much everyone in the gym.
and the rest is kind of history. So I will look back on that and say, however, that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it has now put me in a position where I'm at now, where I'm the happiest I've ever been. I am making the most amount of money I've ever made, and I am doing what I absolutely love. So yeah, one door closes, another one opens. Let's answer one more of the questions. And one of the, how do you deal with negativity from family / close friends about the bodybuilding lifestyle? Well, for starters, I would say that if they aren't supporting you and, giving you positive reinforcement around your goals and things like that, after you've explained to them how much it means to you, then I can't say much else other than the fact that they're probably not the greatest people. I know you're saying family and things like that, and, generally you'd think family would want the best thing for you and whatnot, but if you've already sat down with them and you've already told them, hey, bodybuilding is my life, I love bodybuilding, and you can back that up with your actions, and they still aren't going to get behind you and support you, then it's just a road that you're going to then have to take by yourself, man. Sometimes people just aren't going to understand bodybuilding. They're not going to budge on their views about it. They're going to be very closed-minded, and they're going to, just not support you. And unfortunately, that's just when you need to, take your own path, walk your own road, and, fuck the haters, I guess you could probably say. Look, at the end of the day, if your friends aren't supporting you for something that you really love doing, then, there's a problem there. You need to maybe ask yourself, are these the right people that I even want to be hanging around? Maybe it's time that you start meeting new people and, maybe potentially hanging around other people that are a bit more like-minded, because, your friends and your family should all support you in whatever endeavor it is that you choose, so long as it's not I don't know, becoming the next Pablo Escobar and moving, bricks of cocaine or something. But, so one, let your friends, family, and all that know how much it means to you. And if they still don't understand after that, then, walk your own path and potentially look to find and be around circles of people that actually understand and support what it is that you're trying to do. Because, like I said, Gen Pop and people that have never done this before may not ever quite come to the table with, your thoughts and your feelings around your goals. And that's just the way life is sometimes. Not everyone has the ability to get perspective on things. Oh, we've just jumped out of the sauna. Sorry about that. It cut my video off because the iPhone was overheating apparently. So, but yeah, to finish that last bit off, not everyone is going to have the perspective to, be able to understand that your goals are important to you, and that's just small-minded. Perspective, and that's not much you can do about it. So yeah, walk your own path, do it anyway, and try to surround yourself with people who actually understand. All right, anyways, gonna have a shower now and then hit the streets for some more steps, and I will likely answer another question while I am walking. Alrighty, just out getting some more steps in this miserable Albury weather. I don't know what happened to summer, but apparently summer's taken the day off today because it's fucking shithouse weather right now. But anywho, let us answer another Instagram Q&A question while we walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams. Nah, I'm joking. I won't do that to you. The question is a good one. It is, if you had to start all over again, what would you prioritize for the first 5 years? All right, I'm probably going to say that if I could have my time over again, my first 5 years, I would lock the fuck in to dietary and lifestyle habits. Okay, because the training part, for the most part, in your first 5 years, usually most guys get pretty right. As you can remember, if you're, into bodybuilding, when you first started training, you trained like a fucking animal. You loved being in the gym. If anything, most of us probably trained
too much. But since this question is directed at, you know, honing in on one particular thing to focus on, I would say cutting out the drinking, okay, so no alcohol, which falls under, you know, just lifestyle in general. So no alcohol, getting to bed at the same time every night, waking up at the same time every morning, getting your meals in at the same time every single day, eating the same meal plan every single day. And yeah, like I said, just lifestyle being locked to the fuck in, not fucking about, not staying up until 2, 3 a.m. partying with the guys. And that is what I would do, because when I first started training, yes, I was very passionate. I absolutely loved it. Like, I've loved bodybuilding and training since the moment I first started lifting. But, you know, when we all started lifting, we were all, you know, young and dumb and, you know, gave too much of a shit about girls and things like that. So we went out and we drank and, you know, took drugs maybe. So, yeah, if I could have my first 5 years again and I wanted to go all in on bodybuilding, I would definitely not be out partying, not be out drinking. I would be locked the fuck in. I wouldn't be eating any shit, and I would be focusing on just doing the robot mode, you know, Groundhog Day that I do now. So yeah, but in the same token, you got to remember, like, you don't get your younger years back. You know, we only get to live once, and you only get to be young and dumb once. And you know, it's a tough one, because, you know, how can you tell a 16, 17-year-old to not go out and, you know, party and drink and have fun with their mates and, you know, chase some ass? Because, yeah, those are all memories that you'll remember for the rest of your life. So to give all that up and just say that you had locked into bodybuilding a bit younger is kind of sad. But anyways, that's just my opinion. So yeah, lock the fuck in on lifestyle is my answer to that one, my man. So I'm going to get inside now and I'm going to show you all meal number 2 on this rest day, which is fish, veggies, and rice cakes, and pineapple. Can't forget the pineapple. So I'll see you all in the kitchen. All right, guys, in the kitchen for meal number 2, rest day. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our fish and vegetables out of the fridge, because we cooked these up earlier this morning. So 500 grams of basa, 100 grams of mixed winter vegetables there. Then, along with that, we're going to do 8 corn thins, and we are going to spread it with this whey drip that we have here. Okay, and 125 pineapple. So we'll start with the pineapple. Chop that up. Kind of disappointed that today's all rainy and shitty, because I don't know about you guys, but the day's always happier and nicer when the sun's out, in my opinion. I must get seasonal depression, or whatever they call it these days. Oh, 109. Yeah, 119, close enough. So plan of attack for today, other than answering some questions off the Instagram, is basically just taking you through another rest day. I haven't got a whole lot on today, luckily. It's mainly just client work and chilling around the house, which is good. But if I head out of the house and go and buy a Monster or something, I will certainly take you along for the ride for that one. I feel like I want to get a bunch of energy drinks and just taste test them on camera, or order a bunch of American energy drinks online maybe, and then what we'll do is we'll review one every single day. Maybe that might be an idea for us to do. So we'll see. Maybe I'll hit up my old friends at American Candy Store and try to get another hookup. So we are 1 corn thin short. Now,
whilst I am... Whoop, bastard broke on me. Fucking hell. Broke into a million pieces, the bloody thing. Alright. Whilst I am finishing up spreading whey paste onto these, I'm going to answer another question off of the Instagram Q&A. Now, that question comes from my friend Omar, and he has asked me, what are your thoughts on SLU PP332 at doses in the 10 to 100 milligram range? So I don't know if you guys are familiar with SLU PP332, but what it basically is it's an exercise mimetic. It is a estrogen receptor agonist that in studies have shown to essentially mimic the effects of exercise in rodent studies when taken this drug. So they take this drug and essentially their body recognizes that the same processes have happened that would happen if you were to have exercised. So in these like rats and stuff like that, they lost body fat and essentially their metabolic rates were all higher from using SLU PP332. Now, if you equate the animal studies dosages to human studies, I believe that it ends up actually being around the 400 milligram range is the SLU PP332 dosage range for, say, 100 kilo male. Because what you have is you have all these companies and stuff selling SLU PP332, but they're selling them in like 250 microgram formulations and stuff like that, which in my opinion is far too low. So in this question where Omar has asked me, do I have any experience in using SLU PP332 and in dosages higher than your typical 250 micrograms and whatnot? My answer to that is yes. I actually take SLU PP332 right now, and I am currently taking 100 milligrams a day, split 50-50 pre-faster cardio and pre-workout. So to answer your question, my man, yes, I do have experience in taking SLU in the 10 to 100 milligram range. And yes, I believe that any less than that is actually a waste. Like, I personally don't see a point in taking 250 micrograms of a drug when we're seeing the best results from taking, 50, 100 plus milligrams. So, if you just use basic common sense, you would think to yourself, if 50 to 100 milligrams or more is the human equivalent dose, and that's also the dose where people are seeing the best effects, then how the fuck can 250 micrograms move the needle? So anyways, that's my opinions, thoughts, and experiences with SLU PP332. So I hope that answers your question. So anyways, meal number 2 is plated up. Corn thins are spread with whey, pineapple, fish and veg. Let's tuck into this and get the day rolling. All right, guys, we are leaving the house for the first time this morning. We are taking the Merc and going to get some petrol and get a couple of drinks from 7-Eleven. So the next clip that you see will be me filling up and getting a couple of energy drinks. And then, as you know, we will crack them open on video and do a little taste review. So I'll see you at the petrol station. All right, we've paid for our fuel. We've got ourselves a yummy beverage. And to start off though, we're going to put in this Cactus Sour pouch, XQS. Get one of these bad boys up in there. Now, the energy drink and Zin combo is phenomenal, guys, because when you drink the energy drink, the little bit of fluid touches the Zin, and then that then leaches flavor into the mouth. So there's a little tip for you.
And what we have gone with today is one of the GOAT, iced tea lemonade Ghost. This one is phenomenal. I'll give a live taste test for you all. Hell yeah. 9 out of 10 for that one, guys. Iced tea lemonade by Ghost. I approve. So we are now going to go to the supermarket, grab a few things, then we're going to get back home. We've just had 2 more clients jump on board, so going to get started on making up their plans, and then I'm going to do another question from the Q&A box, cook up meal 3, eat meal 3, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you at the supermarket. Alright guys, we just got done at the shops and I'm going to take you home, unpack all of my groceries and show you what we got. So I'll see you back at home. After we do that, we're going to work on a couple of client programs, do another question, and then it'll be time to cook and eat meal 3. So see you back at the house. Now, is it just me or does anybody else fucking hate getting home with a shitload of groceries knowing that you have to unpack them? Got to pick them up, take them inside, blah, 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 blah. I need to pay some young foreigners do it for me or something. Anyways, going to get the shit inside and show you what we got. Back home now, and this right here is my 3rd energy drink of the day, because everybody knows that rest days are dedicated to abusing caffeine. I also just had a couple of people apply for my online coaching as well, so I'm going to need the caffeine and the nicotine to get through the rest of the day anyway. But anyways, I'm going to show you a bit of what I got from the supermarket here after I take a sip of the trusty white monster. And I've already got a couple of zins in my lips as well. Whoa, fantastic. All right, so let's start with this here. Bassa fillets. I've got a full bag of those here. I'm going to keep those in the bag off to the side because I'm going to go put them in the other fridge. Aussie winter veg mix. All right, low calorie, only 27 calories per 100 grams. So this stuff is the GOAT for dieting. Straight in the freezer with that one. Now, I bought some 0 sugar Fantas and Pasito. Now, I fucked up because I also bought a 12 pack of cans of the Pasito, but I got the fucking regular full sugar shit. So I'm devastated because now I have a pack of Pasito cans that I essentially can't drink. So fuck my life. So anyways, soft drinks, they can go away. I usually do about 1 or 2 full bottles a night. And no, there's nothing wrong with sugar-free soft drink, guys. Okay, you can drink it during prep. The only time I would say to maybe cut it out is close to comp, just so you don't get any like bloating or anything like that. But yeah, other than that, sugar-free soft drinks, go for your life. I always laugh, I'm like, motherfuckers will take
bathtub trend, but they won't drink a fucking sugar-free soft drink. All right. Now, I actually put those in the cupboard because, believe it or not, I prefer drinking soft drink at room temperature. I don't know why, it's just fucking, I tried it one day after I forgot to refrigerate one and I just preferred it. Like, I think because it doesn't burn as much. Maybe I'm just being a little bitch, but anyways. Kombucha, pomegranate flavor, that is for my morning drink. That can go off to the side as well because that will be going to the other fridge. Frozen egg whites, all right. Staple, usually 1 meal a day, like that. Frozen mango, which I use for my Ninja Creamies, as you guys know. My recipe the other day on my YouTube, which you should be watching. Frozen blueberries, can never have enough. Constantly getting fingered with these at bloody $12 a packet. Goes in my cream of rice. Into the freezer with those ones. If anyone with frozen blueberries wants to sponsor me, then feel free to. Pineapple. The ones at the stores today were pathetic. This was the biggest one I could find. What I find funny about pineapples is that they'll be having a shit time with harvesting and they'll be pulling out these pineapples that are like the size of like fucking apples and they'll still charge you $6 for it. It's like, get fucked. But we got one of these. It's super yellow, but anyways, whatever. Pineapple. As you know, I have that multiple times a day. Then we've got another stevia. I always have this stuff on deck because I use a shitload of stevia in my diet. Once again, artificial sweeteners, not going to kill you. All right, that bathtub trend that you're pinning will kill you far before a bit of stevia or some sugar-free soft drink will. Then we have sugar-free maple syrup, 2 different kinds. This one goes in my Ninja Creamies. This one goes on my rice cakes on my low days when I'm not using honey. Lastly, Manuka honey. All right, I usually rotate the type of honey I get, like sometimes that one, sometimes this one, sometimes this one. Bit of a Manuka honey haul. I like to try different brands and just play around with it a bit because bodybuilding is repetitive, so we might as well try different things here and there and, you know, experiment with flavors and stuff like that. So anyways, that was my grocery haul. And now, it is time for another work block. I've got a couple of clients to onboard, so I'm going to do that. Then I am going to cook up meal number 3, which is going to be kangaroo, vegetables, corn thins, whey paste, and pineapple. So you guys will see that. So let me jump on the computer, get a couple of client programs done, and then I will see you for cooking meal number 3. Then I'll answer a question, I'll eat, and then the rest of the day. So see you guys then. Alrighty, it is now time for meal number 3. I'll show you what I got. 8 corn thins, 30 grams of whey, 125 grams of pineapple, 200 grams of kangaroo mince, 100 grams of winter vegetable, and 25 grams of kimchi. That is the spread. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to answer a question and then I'm going to enjoy said meal. Alrighty, we have just sat down to eat our meal, but before we do that, I'm going to answer another question from the Instagram Q&A. This one is from my boy, Louis Vuitton, as his Instagram name goes. And his question is, what would you recommend doing for somebody with very developed delts and undeveloped traps? Now, I will say that's a good problem to have because generally it's the other way around. When you have big traps and undeveloped delts, it kind of makes your proportions and your V-taper look a little bit weird. So I would say the best thing to do would be to train delts as normal, perhaps even put delts volume on the back burner. So, just maintain with 2 sets twice per week for your actual delts, and start adding volume to your traps on your back day and your push day after you train delts. So push day, I would be doing maybe a couple of shrugs, sets of shrugs after your side raises. And on your back day, I would be doing a Kelso shrug, which is more of a shrug in the horizontal plane. So one day shrug up, the other day shrug back essentially, and progressive overload like anything else. Find a couple of movements that you really connect well with and run them into the ground, get stronger at them. Make sure to get a big stretch. I would probably run my first exercise as a Smith machine shrug and my second exercise as like a chest supported Kelso shrug. And I would basically just add on 2 to 3 sets of those on my push and my pull days. So you could essentially be training your traps 3 to 4 days a week, I believe, with 2 to 3 sets on each one of those days. So that would be my tip for getting your traps to catch back up. All right, I'm going to eat this meal now, and then we've got more client work to do, and I'll see you in the next clip. Alrighty, guys, it has been a busy afternoon. We have been working on client programs all afternoon, and we've got everyone ready to go, ready to start. I'm excited for them, super, super keen. So now we are going to cook up our 4th meal and then answer a question, and I'll probably wrap the vlog up there, so stay tuned. Alrighty, guys, so we have cooked up our fish and vegetables along with our corn thins as our normal rest day meal is. And before I hook in, I'm going to finish out this vlog with one more question. That question is, how do you stay lean year round? Or how do you stay so lean year round? Well, the first way to address this is don't get fat in the first place. So once you do get really lean, don't then binge and, go off the deep end and eat a whole bunch of shit. Secondly, you need to keep in all of the good prep habits that were in when you were dieting for the contest and carry them through to the off season. That means having a strict routine, eating on the same schedule every day, waking up and going to the bed at the same time each day, eating the same meal plan every day, and making sure that those calories that you're eating aren't too absurd. So you might only need a 100 or 200 calorie surplus per day. You don't need to be eating 1,000 calorie surplus every day to maximize muscle gain. And yeah, just like I said, all the basic stuff, like still doing your cardio, still getting all your steps in between meals. And yeah, just living a lifestyle. Too many guys, I think, view the off season as a time to fuck about and, go fuck off on the weekends and eat shit, eat McDonald's, eat Uber Eats, all that kind of shit. And in reality, the off season is the most important part. That is where you're going to make most of your progress. So to summarize, staying lean is good habits year round. So keep cardio in, meals in, calorie surplus minimal, diet nice and clean, sticking to the same routine every single day. And that is how you stay lean during the off season, and that is going to make every prep so much easier. Anyways, guys, I also have along with me a Prime Hydrate, which I am slowly working through my stash of like 200 of them that you guys have probably seen in my videos. Trust me, these are actually awesome. They taste so good. This one is a strawberry banana flavor. I'm going to have this along with my meal, and I am then going to upload this YouTube video for all of you guys. So thank you so much for watching my rest day in the life.
after I eat this meal, it's just basically going to be more client work. Meal 5, which is my Ninja Creamy that you guys have all seen. I'll put a photo of it up so that you can see. And yeah, that is the rest of my day. So enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to hook in. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat this fish and vegetables and rice cakes, and I'm going to be one happy boy. So adios, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.